The U.S. Congress gripped by turmoil and uncertainty this morning. It will likely remain that way for at least a week after an unprecedented revolt by far-right Republicans ousted their own Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy.
I don't think it says about the Republican Party. I think it says something about some people who are not a conservative.
Now, Florida Republican and Trump loyalist Matt Gaetz may have won his fight to force out McCarthy, but he could face an ouster of his own. Some Republican lawmakers say they want to vote him right out of the House caucus. Paul Hunter in Washington to help make sense of all of this leading up to this moment. We were all week, Paul, as we talked about the chaos and the tumult yesterday. We were setting up the day. Republicans in the House are there now in the midst of all of this. Where do they go from here?
Truth, no one knows. There simply is no obvious workable way forward for the party. And to be clear, Republicans have done this to themselves. The 8 representatives who blew the place up yesterday have sent the party down this path to the dismay and anger of the majority of Republicans on Capitol Hill. One of McCarthy's supporters this morning called it disgusting. Without a speaker, the place is effectively paralyzed. It is a hugely consequential job. And without one in place, it is unlikely any legislative action can move forward in the House. There is now a temporary speaker, but with limited powers. McCarthy's fate underlines, not just the divide in this country, but the divide within that party. And the 8 who voted him out yesterday now stand emboldened. I'm going to play 3 quick clips for you, Heather, from Republican lawmakers highlighting that divide. Here they are.
The House was going to be in chaos if this did not happen. I am looking for a speaker who will tell the truth to the American people, who will be honest and trustworthy with Congress, with both parties.
Those 8 people are anarchists, and they're Chaos Caucus members. Nobody can meet their demands, and the conference is going to have to figure out how we deal with, 8 people that are here that candidly aren't interested in governing.
From the hardliners, Heather, there is today no signal of any willingness to compromise on their position going forward, which is that compromise in any form is unacceptable, especially when it comes to working with Democrats, as Kevin McCarthy did to keep the government funded, a move that led directly to his demise.
So funded for now, we know, Paul, the White House and Congress are facing another potential government shutdown in just about 40 days. It's just kicked it down the road a little bit. So when this new speaker, whoever he or she is finally voted in, how challenging will it be for the speaker to get Republicans in the House on side to meet that next deadline?
Extremely challenging. Indeed, this is the specific issue that sparked what we saw play out yesterday. Kevin McCarthy is no friend of Democrats, right? Quite the opposite. But he recognized in a divided country and government that he needed to compromise so as to get a deal on government spending, to keep government open, to not cause harm for millions of Americans. That's the short-term agreement in place that you reference. Those who voted him out want no part of anything that doesn't have massive cuts to spending, something Democrats will never agree to. And that hasn't changed. So yet again, this country faces a potential shutdown over that in 40 days or so. There have been a few names put out there as potential new speaker, but none is an obvious or clear or unifying choice. Whoever it turns out to be, a new speaker will face the same challenge McCarthy did, how to get a funding deal done when that handful of hardliners want no part of any deal that involves anything other than their extreme demands. And as it stands, they would still have the power to turf anyone who doesn't play by their rules. It's a mess, Heather, with no obvious way forward.
I think we've lost count of how often we've used the word unprecedented in recent years to describe U.S. politics, but this is truly, again, unprecedented. No speakers have been voted out in the long history of Congress. So talk to us for a moment, if you would, Paul, about this profound moment of rupture on Capitol Hill.
Yeah, unprecedented, uncharted territory. Some might say just another day on Capitol Hill. Fact is, this rupture has been growing for some time. The 8 who voted McCarthy out were themselves voted in by Americans who want to disrupt politics as usual in this country. Donald Trump rode that to the White House and may well do so again. But consider that Kevin McCarthy, who himself brought on the impeachment process against Joe Biden, who cast doubt on the 2020 election results, who went after Democrats who investigated Donald Trump, McCarthy was himself deemed not anti-democratic enough by those 8 hardliners. For them, there is no room for gray, no room for conversation or negotiation with Democrats. Zero. Let's give a listen to Kevin McCarthy on aspects of that, and as well Hakeem Jeffries, the top Democrat in the House. But we'll have McCarthy first.
I don't regret standing up for choosing governance over grievance. It is my responsibility. It is my job. I do not regret negotiating. Our government is designed to find compromise.
We encourage our Republican colleagues who claim to be more traditional to break from the extremists in the chaos, in the dysfunction, in the extremism.
You used the word unprecedented, Heather. Equally apt is another of those now nearly overused words by lawmakers in both parties: chaos, and there is no end in sight to it.
Thank you very much. Paul Hunter from Washington today.